tale of brave Ellie and the Committee of Courage. Once upon a time, in a little town called Willowbrook, there lived an orphan girl named Ellie. She wasn't like the other children in the village. She had big, bright eyes that sparkled with curiosity and a smile that could light up even the gloomiest of days. But there was one thing that made Ellie different. She was always getting into trouble. Not the kind of trouble where you break things or get your shoes dirty. No, Ellie had a unique talent for standing up for what was right. She had a fire in her heart, a fire that burned when she saw someone being treated unfairly. And unfortunately, in Willowbrook, that happened more often than you'd think. Every day after school, Ellie would march up to the bullies with her hands on her hips and a stern look on her face and say, "That's not right. You shouldn't treat people like that." And while the bullies would roll their eyes and laugh, Ellie was undeterred. She was a little girl with a big heart and an even bigger sense of justice. But the bullies didn't give up easily. In fact, they found it hilarious to pick on Ellie because she was small and lived in the orphanage. They'd say things like, "Who do you think you are, Ellie? You don't even have parents." But Ellie wasn't one to back down. She would stand tall and reply, "Just because I don't have parents doesn't mean I don't know what's right." One day, after a particularly rough encounter with the school bullies, Ellie had an idea. "If I can't stop them alone," she thought, "maybe I can get some help." So she decided to start a club. A club for kids who wanted to make things right, no matter how small or big the injustice was. Ellie's first step was to gather a group of children who felt the same way she did. She went to the playground where the older kids played soccer, and she called out, "Hey, do you want to join my club?" The kids looked at her in confusion. "A club? What kind of club?" asked Ben, a tall boy who liked to pretend he was a dragon when he wasn't kicking a soccer ball. "A club where we help other kids and stop bullies," Ellie said excitedly. The kids stared at her for a moment, then one by one, they nodded. Ben was the first to speak. "I want to help. I'm tired of seeing kids getting pushed around," he said. After him, Maria, a shy girl who was always picked last in games, added, "I'll join too. Maybe together we can make things fair." And just like that, Ellie's club, the Committee of Courage, was born. Now, the Committee of Courage wasn't just any club. Ellie had big plans. They would not only stop bullies, but also make sure that everyone, no matter how different they were, felt included. They set up their headquarters in an old treehouse behind the orphanage. Ellie was the president, obviously, and Ben became the chief of Dragon Defense. He liked that title. Maria was in charge of making the club's secret handshake, which ended up being a series of awkward, high-pitched claps that made everyone giggle. The first big mission of the Committee of Courage was to help poor little Lily, a girl who was always being picked on for wearing the same dress every day. Ellie, Ben, and Maria marched to Lily's house and knocked on her door. "Lily," Ellie said with determination, "we are here to help." Lily, who had been trying to hide her tears behind the door, looked up in surprise. You want to help me?" "Of course," said Ben, puffing out his chest. "No one should be treated badly just because of what they wear." The Committee of Courage worked together to talk to the kids who had been teasing Lily. At first, the bullies laughed, but after Ellie explained how much it hurt, they stopped. The next day, when Lily came to school, she wore her dress proudly, and no one teased her. The Committee of Courage had won their first victory. As the days went by, the committee grew stronger. They helped kids who were being left out of games, children who were afraid of speaking up, and even a boy who was scared to tell his teacher that his lunch had been stolen. The Committee of Courage was making a real difference in Willowbrook. But there was one mystery that no one could solve. Ellie had never spoken about where she came from or how she ended up at the orphanage. Some of the children wondered if Ellie had always lived there. But Ellie just smiled and said, "Everyone has their story. It's more important to write the next chapter, don't you think?" One rainy afternoon, as the committee was gathered in their treehouse planning their next mission, a letter arrived for Ellie. It was sealed with a royal crest, a large golden lion. "Oh, I wonder who this is from," Ellie said, opening the envelope with wide eyes. The letter inside was written in beautiful flowing script. "To Miss Ellie of Willowbrook. We are pleased to inform you that you are the lost princess of the kingdom of Lysandra. A royal search has led us to your location, and we request your presence at the palace at your earliest convenience. You are our heir, and we await your return. With respect, King Marcus and Queen Isabella of Lysandra." The room went silent. Everyone stared at Ellie, who was now looking at the letter in disbelief. You're a princess?" Ben asked, his eyes wide with surprise. Ellie blinked. I never knew. My parents must have been..." She trailed off, feeling a strange mix of emotions. "Does this mean you're leaving us?" Maria asked softly. Ellie looked at her friends and smiled. "I might be a princess, but I'm still the same Ellie. And I'm not going to stop doing what's right. I'll always stand up for others, no matter where I am." And so, Ellie went to Lysandra, where she was welcomed as the lost princess. But even in the grand palace, she never forgot the lessons she had learnt in Willowbrook. The importance of standing up for what's right, helping others, and creating a world where everyone, no matter their background, felt included. But she also made sure to keep her promise. Ellie started a new committee of courage in the palace, and soon children from all over Lysandra were joining, standing together to make sure kindness and justice were always at the heart of their kingdom. And that, dear children, is how Ellie, the orphan with a big heart, became not just a princess, but a true leader, who always did the right thing. The end. So that's it, children. It's the end of this episode. See you next week for a new story that is both fun and magical. And above all, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Bye.